Hola, hola y bienvenidos a este jueves de Latinas Cannapreneurs Live, donde hoy tendremos a nuestra embajadora Rebeca con su invitada especial, que ella es Candy de Weedmaps, que nos estaba contando sobre su anécdota y sus emprendimientos en cuanto siendo la primera mujer en lo que es la compañía de Weedmaps. Esta compañía ahora es una compañía Public Traded Company. Eh, Candy tiene un rol bien especial que nos va a contar sobre su rol y nos estaba contando sobre cómo ella inició en la industria del cannabis. Candy, yes, we're back. We're so sorry having technical problems here going live, as you know.
That's the island internet, right?
Yes, I mean, I don't know which internet, but yes, we are back on.
We're back. Okay, awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience here. It takes a little bit. So yes, you were telling us, Kennedy, that you started when Proposition
Yeah, during
started.
Proposition 215 in California, it already existed. So it was a 2010, or no, sorry, 2009 when I started working for Dr. Bonnie Goldstein. And the owner of that company became the owner of Weed Maps as well. And he just kind of brought me over with him. So I started at Weed Maps in January of 2010. So I've been there just over 12 years now. And I was the only female. To be fair, there was only like 7 of us in the whole company. So they did have a female from the beginning, thankfully. That's how we get things done, right? You have to have some women on the team. So
Yes.
Definitely,
yeah,
we keep
since
the
then
ball rolling.
it was just taking on roles and learning as I did them. I had no idea what I was doing, but I learned along the way and made it happen. And I'm still here today doing a job that I'm very, very grateful to do, helping other people and working to uplift women in the industry and social equity, as well as diversity and inclusion within the industry and within the company as a whole.
Amazing. So you've seen like the entire growth. I was just telling our audience that, Weed Maps became a public traded company just, not even a year ago, was it?
No, it was October of last year. I got to be there to ring the bell. It was awesome.
Amazing. As a Latina, I mean, it's you've seen the growth and how, cannabis has helped pave the way for different types of industry. So tell us a little bit about your beginnings before, Weed Maps, before 2010. What did you do? Well, were you always into the cannabis industry? Were you involved in cannabis before?
I mean, not legally. I was a stoner for sure. I smoked a lot of weed back then. But I actually had a career in the home building industry. So I was, I did a lot of different things, but home building was something I was very into. So I got to like help build the homes from scratch by pulling out the like reading the blueprints and saying what we wanted in each home. So it was a fun job, and I did it for quite a few years before everything crashed. A bunch of companies went under, including the one that I was a part of. And so that's when I made the jump into the cannabis industry, because I mean, I was selling weed to have my weed be free, so I wasn't making money from it. It was just for me to get my own weed for free because I was spending too much money on it. But so I made that jump, and I've never looked back since.
Wow, it's amazing. And in that industry, in construction, were there a lot of women? Or
No.
were you also
No.
See, there's like a pattern there. We are, in spaces where not a lot of women are involved. So that's great that we could continue to have that effect wherever we go. So there's a couple people saying hi here. Candy is a pioneer. Glass half full. The guys from Happy Monkey. Sophia Felix says hi. We have Latina Queens. Thank you. Glass house full. Awesome. Cristimar, our ambassadors. Awesome. Thank you for joining us. And Rebeca, so you both guys working Weed Maps, and tell us a little bit about, Rebeca, a little bit about your role, and then Candy, a little bit about your role and what it entails to be the the head of Teal, and explain us a little bit what that entails.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that I love how many people, yay, I love Candy. Yeah, Candy for Presidente 2024. I love, just because like she's an amazing person, first of all. Second of all, because she's a Latina, of course. And then our families are from the same hometown in Mexico, so that's like amazing as well.
Wow.
And we get to work together. Like I'm actually part of her team at Wheatmap, so that's amazing as well. But I currently work as a government relations associate at Wheatmaps. I help with the CSI team, the corporate social impact side of the company. That's where I team up with Candy on the WMTL program that she created back in 2019, 2018. And I'm also part of the international markets team, helping expand basically to other countries as cannabis continues to make waves around the world. I just want to say once again, going back to Candy, when I first started back in October, it's been 8 months that I've been with the company. She was, I don't know if the first, but definitely one of the few people that reached out to me to welcome me at the company and saying how excited she was that another Latina was joining the government relations team. So it's been an amazing journey so far, just learning from her experience, everything that she has done so far, and just like from the rest of our team members, that everyone is amazing. Well, I feel like we always say this out loud, but like we feel so lucky and fortunate to have such an amazing team within Wheatmaps as part of the government relations public affairs team. So it's been such an amazing journey for me. I'm not as experienced as Candy in the sense that I don't have 10 plus years of background in cannabis, but definitely has been a roller coaster of emotions and amazing. It's been an amazing adventure overall, just to like learn from everyone, especially as a Latina, as a Spanish speaking person. There has been tremendous growth on my end. And I mean, Candy, I would love for you to like talk about WMTL, just because it's such a big component of the work that we do at Wheatmaps, and it's such an important aspect of everything that has been going on, especially in the last couple of years as the industry continues to grow within the US. I mean, it is your baby. Can you please just like talk about WMTL and like all the amazing work that you do there?
Oh, of course. Thank you, Rebecca. And I was probably the most excited I've been in a very long time when Rebecca joined the team. Not only because both of our families are from Mexicali and that we're both Latinas on this team, but she's just so helpful. Like my life has gotten so much easier to her. So thank you.
Glad to help.
WMTL started because I was at the time working in the marketing department, and I was overseeing like events and field marketing. And so what I had been doing was proposing a lot of events that were either women focused or minority focused. So there was a lot of like Latinos and Blacks and a lot of people doing their own events that I wanted to support that we had never really been super supportive of. We were supporting a lot of women events, and we were just doing like the big events. And so I was proposing a lot of smaller events. And when our now CMO/COO joined the company, he recognized that I was making a lot of these proposals for women and minority focused events. So he said that, why don't you do something bigger for this? Like, let's create something from it. And he gave me that opportunity. He's also Latino, so that's Juanjo. And he gave me the opportunity.
Shout out to Juanjo.
Yeah. Very supportive of women in the workplace. I love him.
Yes. Yeah.
So he encouraged me, and between him and Bridget, who is our VP of Public Affairs, they both really
shout out to Bridget too.
They're so great. And they gave me this runway and just kind of like do it, like go do it, and then make something out of it. Figure out how we could do it on a bigger scale. And so we launched WMTEAL, and TEAL stands for Together for Equity, Access, and Legalization. And so we focus a lot on the diversity and working together with multiple organizations, specifically a lot of legacy organizations who have already been doing such great work and helping provide them with the resources that they need to make a bigger splash with what they have. So we've been doing that. We continue to do that. We identify that these organizations are doing great work already, and they just need a little extra behind them to do more of it. And so we try to do that as much as possible. We've created an internal social equity program, which has now been turned into more than just social equity. It's the WMTL business bundle, and this will apply for other licenses that we're going to be seeing popping up in New York and New Jersey for women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, etc. So this is great, and we have a team dedicated to it on the revenue side. So the company's really stepped up to help us support all of these small businesses and make a bigger impact for them. And then we have an access side of things. So it's more focused for patients and how we can support patients and help get them their free medicine. And we do that by also partnering with organizations like Weed for Warriors or AmVets, who are able to help people get free meds, discounted meds, or, you know, some type of discount out there. So, or even just showing them that they can get it. And I think through legalization is one of the bigger things. And that's why our government relations team is so important. And that's why our team kind of falls in line with the government relations team. I might not be a policy person, but the work that we do is very much dependent on policy changes. And so we work hand in hand with the people who can make those changes and write the language that is needed out there. And shout out to Summer Fox, who does a great job at managing our policy team. We have an abundant amount of white papers for everything that you can imagine, and still growing that. So we've got a great team. And again, I'm grateful for Rebecca, and we have a new AVP of Corporate Social Impact who's building out the ESG side of it, and that's Tyler, and she's been great in it too. So we're very happy, and things are moving along faster than we anticipated, but also not fast enough for the way that we want it to. So it's a lot going on, but a lot to do. Yes. More people needed to do it, but we'll get there eventually.
No, that's amazing that you were given this opportunity. And I was just talking to different people how we need allies. That's amazing that, you know, they saw your potential, your work that you were doing with, you know, the POC community and, you know, the different types of communities, again, diversifying, knowing how we could be better and give back to the community. That's something that cannabis is, you know, a place to do. I mean, it's a plan to vibe the whole giving back to the community, especially like you said, the legacy communities, who they are the ones who have built the paveway for us to have this legal market, to be able to, you know, purchase and sell legally. And there's still, for example, in Puerto Rico, there's still people being, you know, criminalized over it, when there's other people who are still making millions. So that's about, you know, equality, equity. Where is that at? How can we be, you know, of a positive impact to the people who've been, you know, damaged and hampered the most? So it's amazing to see like Latinas in, you know, in that process. Because again, I always say there's a lot of women in cannabis. We're just hidden. So it's great to see that, you know, that's how we met in one of the programs for Latinas in cannabis, how, you know, Wheat Maps, how to Latina, how different organizations are collaborating and again, speaking up, breaking stigmas, inspiring, educating, and elevating. And that is amazing. And it's so great to see, again, Rebeca as our ambassador, to be able to make that connection and how the energy and vibes like communicate, because que casualidad que you guys are from Mexicali and have this, you know, background in common. So it's just a great all around. So tell us a little bit more about how you, like, what is the future for Teal now that you're heading, you're the head of Teal? What are your perceptions or your future plans for it?
Well, I think in everything that you start, you want to make it scalable, and you want it to be something that can live on even after you're gone from it, right? So I want to put processes in place that will allow it to grow and be even bigger than what it is today, for the company to continue doing it, whether I'm there or not. So for me, that's one of my goals. And another one would be to make sure that every small business that needs our support is getting it. I know it's a lofty goal, but it's a special one to me because there are a lot of small businesses who are struggling and might not know about our program. So getting the word out there and making sure more people know that this program does exist to support them is important. And that's, I think, one of our big goals for the rest of this year is to more, is just spreading the word of the program, because we have made it better than it was in the last couple of years, and it can benefit more people. So
amazing. So how do people, how do we spread the word? How do we get in touch with your people to learn about the program, how they can apply, how can they be a part of it?
As of right now, you can go to weedmaps.com/social equity, or you can email socialequity@weedmaps.com, and we can help you and direct you to the right place.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Candy. I know you're super busy, so I thank you and appreciate your time. And next time we're going to have an amazing, time explaining a little bit more about your background and about how you, came up to be in, in the industry and how people can grow, because that's another thing. A lot of people don't know or don't have the tools on how to develop themselves in the cannabis space, because there's so many types of positions and espacio spaces for women to be a part of, and we always need inspiration from other women to how do they do it, and that's something that in Latinas Cannapreneurs we love to highlight women. We love to see other women succeed because it's empowering to take that word. Again, we always say we're the minority of the minority. We're women, we're Latinas, so we're like underrepresented. So it's great to see women and Latinas in power. So thank you so much for your time. I know that we will get in touch soon again and have a more, detailed conversation about your, how you were brought into the cannabis space. And Rebeca, thank you again so much for having Candy joined us and be a part of this conversation. And I'm sure it's going to be many more to come.
One thing I do want to add before we go, just because it's super worth to this conversation. I mean, it's one of the reasons that I wanted to also bring Candy into the conversation is because she's also our president for WOW, which stands for Women at Weed Maps. And so it is amazing, first of all, to have a Latina that's the president of such an important.
What is WOW? I mean, how did that develop? That's amazing. Tell me about
so she's not only, she's been doing, she's been a trailblazer in so many aspects, right? But she's our current president, and she's doing amazing work within the company as well from a women's perspective as well, trying to push forward all the work that a lot of the women that we don't see sometimes because there's so many different, I mean, right now, like she started when the company was like 7 people. We're now almost at 800, or I don't know if we have surpassed that number, but I mean, like 800 people. Of course, there's now a lot of women that need to be represented. So she's now fulfilling that role as our leader, as part of WOW, Women at Weed Maps. So thank you, Candy, for everything that you do.
Amazing.
Thank you for having me.
That's the things that we need to highlight, that we need to celebrate. All those accomplishments of Latinas, again, making pathways and breaking stigmas. And that's amazing that you continue with all of your trajectory and experience to support, our next generation. And that's very important, breaking stigmas and supporting our future generations when it comes to cannabis. So thank you so much for all your work. We'll hopefully continue this conversation soon. And thank you, Rebeca, for joining us in our Latinas Cannapreneurs Live.
Thank you for having us.
Besos, éxito.
Besos.